Testing, 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 testing. Looks like we're good. Alrighty. Welcome to another Hoopo stream. Today's going to be a nice chill day. We're going to be doing some programming, some program and chill. We're continuing on with our series on TubeGPT, which is an assistant that we're making for YouTube purposes. So little helper who can do a couple different things. So for example, here, let me run this app. But this is where we got yesterday. So we have this little UI here, and you can find a, for example, a DeepMind paper. Then all you got to do is you paste it into here. As soon as you paste it, it's going to use the archive Python API to go and find the exact paper, find the title, and so on. You can hit this Make Title button. And you see here, Agile Soccer Skills for a Robot Using Deep Reinforcement Learning. So you can change this a little bit. You can maybe call it Soccer Robots and then make a title. Agile Soccer, no. Let's just call it Soccer Robots. Okay. Make hashtags, we can click on that. Here's some hashtags. And then you hit combine. And you have your final description. So you have your description of your video that you can copy paste into the actual YouTube description box. You have the title for the YouTube video and you have the hashtags. So there's a couple different things we want to do after this. We want to add the thumbnail code that we wrote a week or so ago. And we also want to integrate it with Notion. So Notion is kind of like a journaling website. It's kind of like a Evernote or like a Google Keep or something like that, but kind of a more advanced version of it. I highly recommend it. And if you can see here, I track all my YouTube videos on this Notion page. So I'd really like to be able to basically take all this text here, take the thumbnail that we create, and then just click a button and then have it appear on this Notion page so I can keep track of it. So that's another thing we want to integrate. So that's the rough plan for today, is kind of flesh out this thumbnail part and flesh out the Notion part. So let's get started here on the thumbnail part. Okay, let's open up our GPT-4, just to really push the boundaries. We want to make sure that we're using GPT-4 as much as we can and in kind of all the different creative ways that we can, right? We have to change the way we program. Okay, so let's scroll down here into the thumbnail. And right now the thumbnail has a text box where you would put a prompt. Then this run button, which we should change here. We should just call it label generate foreground. I think that's not the right thing. I think a button is not labeled. See how it says run? So actually we can go into here. It's actually called value. Value equals generate foreground. Okay. I think here on this thumbnail page, we probably want to put the data dir in case people want to change it. So why don't we do data dir or gr data dir text box. We're going to make a text box, place your data directory, show label, lines 1, not password. The value for this is going to be data dir.value. Okay, so now if we run this, we should see. Oh. Yeah, so this is the data dir. Let's add a label to that. Show label true. And let's get rid of the placeholder. Let's just literally have a label on it, and we'll say data directory. Local data directory. All right, perfect. Okay, so now we got our foreground and our background. We need a button underneath both of these, and this button, we're going to call it combine. Right, so gr combine button. It's going to have a value of combine, and then whenever you actually click this button, generate thumbnails. We're also going to need a color picker. So foreground, why don't we have, maybe the color picker is on this row here, or on the row as the background. We can worry about that later. Let's just do the color picker here. gr color picker. And we want to use the same color that we use for our normal thumbnail. So our thumbnails kind of have a little bit of a style already. So we can need to go here, and I forget what this color is, but we can find it. This is 64 dBF1, 64 dBF1, 64 dBF1. All right, perfect. So that is the default color of our thumbnails right now. Okay, so here, let's change this. Let's call this text color. And we don't actually need that. I think what we want is update and then text color. And then let's make text color a variable. So we have here, let's do text hashtags, and let's do text color. And actually, why don't we make this the same color as well? Okay. And here for the generate foreground, I kind of want kind of want the background to be kind of further up, so why don't we move the background over here above the foreground, and the foreground image, move it down here. This is basically the Bob Ross of programming videos. And we're going to call this GRFG no BG image. So this is going to be the image, but without the foreground. And let's kind of see what that looks like right now. We have our text color. I kind of feel like this should be in line with these things, right? I wonder if there's a like an image state. Probably not. It's probably not a thing. Right, I just feel like too much space is wasted on this text color picker right here. Let's move this color picker up here to the generate foreground. All right. And when you click the generate foreground, it should generate the foreground image, but then it should also create the background image. So the output shouldn't just be GRFG image, it should also be this GRFG no BG image. And let's go into this GPT image function here. And GPT image outputs an image URL and an output path. We don't actually care about either of those. We want this output path, and then we also want the output output path. So GPT image here is generating an image with the OpenAI API. So you see here we have two different versions of it. We have the image.create, which will create an image given a prompt, and then we also have the image.create variation, where you give it an image and then it creates a variation of that image. So right now we're just getting the URL, creating a PIL image out of it, and then saving that image. Right, and then that's the path that we're going to use for the grad.io here. But what we really want is we want a data.dir directory here. And we need to craft the output path here. So output path for image, we're going to do that. So let's make a unique name for this. Let's call it image name. So UUID, which is a unique identifier. Our output path is going to be that, and then image name. And then we're going to save that. Then we're going to remove the background. Remove background with replicate. And that's going to remove BG. Where is it? Use replicate API to remove background, and then that goes from image path to output path. Okay. So let's go back. And the output path in this case is going to be this. We'll call this image path, and then we'll call this image path, or image no BG path. So we'll have two separate paths here, one for the input and then one for the output. Let's call this image name, just so we don't have weird confusing things here. Let's call this output path for original image. And then we're going to have two here. We're going to have image path and image no BG path. And here we'll put a little underscore no BG. Okay, so that seems like everything we want. Let's move this end down here, I guess. Put this up here. These have to have something, right? Actually, let me get rid of the image variation. Let's just do this. Because I feel like the way that we're using this function in grad.io, we don't necessarily want. So this is going to be a string. N, and get rid of this. And we can go here, we can click on this, and it'll show us the reference to it, and we go prompt data dir, so we need to go down to here, GPT image right here, where you click and it gets the prompt and the data dir, so that's correct, and then it gets the image and the no-BG image, so that's also correct. Okay. Then eventually we're going to click this combine button, and we're going to have to look at the generate thumbnails path. So what is the generate thumbnails going to want? It's going to want the prompt text box. It's going to want the data dir. It's also going to want actually the outputs for this is going to be the combined image. We're going to need a combined image here. And let's make a combined image. Right here. Combined image. Combined. So now when it outputs, it'll output to this combined image. GR texts titled text box should be this one. GR texts text box, GR title. I think we have the actual title variable in the form of this. Yeah, texts title. So that's really what we want. We got the prompt. We got the title, we got the foreground image, we got, actually what we really want is the foreground without the background, so this one. We need the background image, We don't actually need the prompt, actually, now that I think about it. We have, and we might not even need the data dir. Maybe we do. GRBG image, GR no BG, and the text title and the color. What did we call it? Text color. Okay, so let's copy these. Go to generate thumbnails. Go through here. Get rid of those commas, come back there. I think we don't need this n, it's always going to be 1. You generate variations of string prompts for image generation. We don't need this. We don't need that. Background image. Resize the background, so I guess we're making the image path for this is going to be the GRBG image. The output path for this is going to be data dir. So we're going to save the resized background and let's call it let's rename this. Let's call this image name. And let's say image path. Actually, no, let's not do that. So we resize the background. We don't need these colors anymore. Then we need to write the text on top of the image. In order to do that, we need to rename this. So the image path should be data dir. The output path should be the same thing, except we're going to add a little postfix here. This little postfix is going to be with text. Yeah, let's call it that. The texts should be the text's title object that we receive. The text color should be the text color that we receive. Font size, the rectangle color, rect RGB. Actually, text color should be black. Let's do that. Actually, I think 255 is black, right? And then this is the one that needs to be like that. Text color. And let's use GitHub Copilot to convert hex color to RGB. There you go. And let's rename this because it's not the right thing here. Let's call it rect color. Here we actually stack the image. We don't need a new name for this. We can just use the original name. So the foreground image path should be this. Let's get rid of this. The background image path is what we've been doing this whole time. So data dir image name underscore text. The output path is going to be data dir underscore final. And let's save this as a variable so we can return it. So I'm going to say output image out. Actually, let's call it image path. All right. And we need to return that image path. All right, I mean, that's looking pretty good. Here we go, the text's color. Let's change this. We're gonna hit the refactor button. We're gonna call it a rect color. All right, let's kill everything. Let's rerun everything. And let's see where we're at. So we have our local data directory. We have background image. We have generating the foreground. Foreground. Why does this one have a drop image here or click to upload and this one doesn't have anything? You guys seen that? It's kind of weird. But then you have the combine button and then you have the final thing. So let's actually just try to do this. Let's do generate foreground, see what we get. Error. You must provide a prompt. Okay. Portrait of a blue-eyed white Bengal cat. Generate foreground. This is using the OpenAI image API. It's going to take a second here. There you go. So there's our image with the removed background. I don't like how weird that, like, why is this strange? Why is this one different than this one? GRFG image. GRFG no BG image. All right. But let's say we wanted to come here into this paper and we had a screenshot. Let's do this. Little screenshot. Screenshot. Flame shot. Take screenshot. Take this. Copy. Ooh, that's not a good workflow. I also think we're going to have to crop it, but let's see. So let's say we picked this image. Something like that. Then we hit save. We put it inside our downloads. Let's just save it there. Then when we come here to the grad.io, we should be able to open it from our downloads. All right, there you go. There's the screenshot. And now if we hit combine, error. numpy nd array object has no attribute read. So when we're doing the resize BG, it wants the image path. Okay, so the problem here is that resize BG in generate thumbnails here. These grfg nobg image and grbg image, these aren't paths to the image. What these are numpy arrays. So I think let's do this. Say image equals none, and then we'll say if image is none, then open from the path, else image equals image dot from array image. Right? And let's go into the resize BG. This is where it's used, and here we just say, hey, we're not actually giving you an image path, we're giving you an actual image. And I think we're going to run into a similar path here wherever we do the foreground image. Yeah, right here. Stack FGBG. So let's do a similar kind of trick here where we're going to say foreground image and background image. Okay. These are going to be nd dot or np dot nd array. And the default for that is going to be none. We don't seem to have numpy, so let's import that. Import numpy as np. Come here. And here, we're going to give it foreground image is going to be that, and then the background image path. So we're going to be giving it two slightly different objects here, which is a little bit confusing, but it's fine. And string, make it clear. Give some type hints so that it's a little bit more clear which is which. If foreground image is none, else yes, and then if background image is none, then this. Else background image. So now we have optional foreground and background image sizes, or types, sorry. Okay. Let's kill this and let's rerun it. I also think that we need a default value for this prompt. So here in the thumbnail where it says, also how's this working? What do we got here? Take a big sip of this yerba mate. going to call this foreground prompt. Okay. Let's run it. Okay. Back to our grad.io. We refresh. We go into the thumbnails tab. Let's hit the generate foreground button. It's going to go ahead and use the OpenAI image API to generate a variation of this prompt. So it's actually two parts. We're using GPT to generate a variation of this prompt, and then we're using the OpenAI image API to generate an image based on that prompt. So got ourselves a nice little image. This background is quite bad. This removal of the foreground is actually kind of terrible. We're going to have to fix that. I was thinking about using segment anything, so I feel like that's the better foundational model to use. So we now put the picture that we want as the background, and then we hit combine, and we get an error. What do we got? Expected strings, but not none type. Okay, so we need to pass a font. I remember this. We have to have fonts. So, where is this exactly? In the generate thumbnails. So let's go back to our generate thumbnails. And here we go. There should be in the draw text. Here we go, the font. So let's call this font path. Get rid of the font dir. Get rid of that. And we're going to have to pass a font path. So I feel like that should actually be, this rectangle color should actually be in a new row with the font picker. Yeah, so let's move this color picker underneath the foregrounds. Let's make a new row here. And inside this row, we're going to put the color picker. We're going to put the generate button. Sorry, this is going to go here. We're going to put the combine button, the color picker, and then we're also going to put the font picker. GR font size, or font path. Is a label picker. I don't think GR file picker is a thing. You see how it's not highlighting it in the right color? That means that VS Code is telling you that a file picker is not an actual abstraction in grad.io. So let's go to grad.io here. File picker, something like that. Let's see. File. I think this is the one we want. We want grad.io.file. And we also need to download a couple fonts. So I'm getting them from here, from Google Fonts. Search fonts, search computer. Actually, what is the font that we use in our thumbnails? That's probably the one we want. Thumbnail. What font is this? Roboto Mono. Search for that one. Roboto Mono. Boom, here we go. and you can pretty much download it. I think they have a couple different variants here. They have like a bold one, they have italic ones. Let's do this one. Can I download? Download all. Roboto Mono. Extract into downloads. Show the files. Here we go. That's not what I want. Extract here. Roboto Mono. Here we go. This one here. And we're going to go ahead and drag this into our data dir. Okay. So now, what do we call it again? I'm already forgetting. No. Let's copy the name of that. And let's make sure to paste it in there. So it's actually here. That's the name of it. And this gr font path, we need to pass it. So for generate thumbnails, we got the text title, we got the rect color, and then we got the gr font path. So let's make sure that data dir, text title, rect color, and then and then font path. And this font path, we're going to have to give it right here. Text color, draw text, rectangle padding, font path. I think that's what we called it, right? Font path. Yeah. None. Save. Okay. Let's go ahead and run this. Go back to our Grad.io app. Hit refresh. Go into thumbnails. Rather than generating new images, let's just go ahead and use the images that we already have. So home, data, nope, home, dev, TubeGPT, data, let's do this one. And we have our font, and we hit combine, error. Okay, what do we got here? Cannot open resource. Show file location, visit file, this one. Okay, let's see if now we can do this. Okay, something's going on here. Let's put a little breakpoint right here and then hit combine. All right, and now we're in the breakpoint. So now if we look at this, what is the font path? You see the font path is a Grad.io object, so we need to probably do a, holy shit, I don't know what I just did there. Let me move this up over here. If we do font path dot value, can I just get the string value of this? Name, origname. Font path dot name, is that what we want? I guess. Okay. So down here where we have our gr font path, and here where we're passing it in, here we actually have to say dot name. Let's put a breakpoint right there, just so we can verify that that's actually what's going to happen. And let's rerun it. Refresh, refresh. Oh, okay, it's because it's not. Okay, so font path dot name. Let's put that in our debug console. Font path dot value dot name. Wow, it's actually more complicated than that. It's font path dot value, and then value itself is a dictionary, and then within that there is a key called name. That is gross. String object has no attribute ID. We can't do it right here. We gotta pass it in unadulterated, and then inside generate thumbnails. Here where we pass the font path, this is where we do that. So let's put the breakpoint there. All right, so font path right here should just be a object. All right, that seems fine. Let's get rid of this breakpoint. We're working. Let's go into our thumbnails. Let's grab our image. Let's grab our random image here. And now let's hit the combine. Okay, we're getting here. Font path dot value dot name. Let's make sure that this is fine. Just go into the debug console. That should be no. Jesus Christ, this is so gross. It's just font path dot name. All right, let's rerun it again. Back to thumbnail. Upload this one. Upload this one. Hit combine. Breakpoint looking good. Let's keep going. Font path here should be a string. That is also good. Keep going. Bad transparency mask. All right, so here in the FG image full paste, which is in stack FGBG function, right here in this function where we're pasting foreground image, XY, foreground image. Okay, let's put a breakpoint right here, and we'll see exactly what's going on. Let's run this again. Refresh. Put our background. Put our foreground. Hit combine. Should trigger our breakpoint. All right, we're in the breakpoint. So FG image full. Okay, we can hit this step over and it'll step to the next line. So FG image full should be a RGB A image. FG image is an RGB image. And FG image is also an RGB image. So what exactly is this paste function supposed to be doing again? This is the line that errors out. So yeah, you go. Bad transparency box. Image box mask.image. So first of all, I think what's confusing here is this should just be image full. I also feel like it should just be like this, right? I don't know if we need that mask. So let's do this. Put that there. So we have a new image full. We paste in our foreground image. Now we do an alpha composite of both of these. And then we save it to the output path. And let's actually open up our file browser, see what we ended up generating there. Dev, TubeGPT. Oh, I see. I understand why we did the mask. So you see, we pasted it, but the mask is incorrect. You see that? So I think maybe what we're losing is the foreground channel. So let's do this. Add alpha channel to foreground. Okay, and now let's rerun all of this again. Create a new blank full image. Paste in the foreground. Alpha composite the background with the foreground using the foreground alpha channel as the mask, and then save it to the output path. And now this file, close without saving. I don't know if that worked or not. I'm not exactly sure. Because this might be stale, is what I'm saying. Okay, either way, let's close this out. Let's run this app. Let's try to see how it works live. So let's refresh here. Thumbnail, background image, foreground, pick this one, Combine. Get rid of this breakpoint. Keep going. Now you see we're not. Let's see what happens if we generate a new foreground. Maybe it's the fact that we're uploading the image and it's losing the foreground because of that. Okay, so right now it's generating a new image with the OpenAI API, and then it's going to remove the background with the replicate model. I don't know why this is taking so long. It also didn't write the text. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Yeah, what's going on with this text? Let's delete all of these except for the font. Hello, Sagi, how's it going? So I think when we're converting this into a NumPy array, we're losing the background. Yeah, so let's get rid of this FG no BG image. The generate foreground is just going to put it into the grfg image. I'm fine, but I can't use YouTube. How are you watching this video then? And here we actually want this here to be like this. And is there a gr column? Yes, there is. Nice. Then combine and grfg image. And let's go into the GPT image and let's remove that. And here, where's the generate thumbnails? Generate thumbnails. Resize the BG. Remove foreground, background. How's my scroll prize ranking? I don't know, it's probably terrible. I haven't touched it in weeks at this point. I'm working on new projects now. grfg image, this. And here we put the image no bg path. Image np.endArray is none. Image path is a string. And output path is a string. If image is none, then actually do nothing. If image is not none, what extensions are you using for code completion from comments? So this is GitHub Copilot. So in VS Code, you can see down here, I have this little Copilot. So it's kind of changing the way you program, right? Like for example, I type what I want to do in a comment first, and I say, temporary file location for image. And then, for example, we could say data_dir. And then you just put it there. If image is none, if image is not none, image path equals that image from array, and then image save. So lots of automatic writing here. Remove grfg image. So let's actually make this a little bit better. Let's call this image. Output path and data_dir. Let's rerun this. Got a background. Let's generate foreground. Should take a second. Here we go. Boom. Nice. And now we hit combine. Error. Image from array fg image in stack fgbg. So this line right here. Okay, so the problem is that whenever we use stack FGPG here, it's no longer FG image, it's now FG image path. Let's rerun this. Background. Let's do a Pikachu. Generate foreground. Eventually I want to use Midjourney for this. And there we go, we got our Pikachu. Now we hit combine. Just so I find that the OpenAI image API is just not as good as Midjourney. And there we go, look at that. We have our background with the inlaid foreground, and the text looks a little bad here. So what is going on here with the text? Generate thumbnails right here. Oh, it's because we don't have a text. Yeah, let's do this. Make title. Let's call this Pikachu talks to robots. And actually, let's put in some of these other things here too, because there's a couple different parameters that are worth putting in here. Like for example, this, we have the rectangle padding and the font size. So let's do font path, let's do font size, and let's do rect padding. And let's call this title. So the text is going to be that. The font size is going to be font size. And the rect padding, here's where we put it. Let's go ahead and add those variables here. So we're going to have a rect padding variable. And we're also going to have a font size variable. Then we're going to make a accordion similar to what we did here. GR row, thumbnail over here. Let's put it so it's kind of, I guess, with the combine button. So like right here. Text settings, we're going to put the color picker in here. We're also going to put the font path dot update font path. I don't really care about that. Let's do GR font size. Minimum of, let's say, 50. Maximum of, let's say, 120. Value is font size.value. Label font size. Step 1. Close that. It updates the font size variable. Rectangle padding. We'll do 0 to 100. That seems fine. Rect padding value. Step 1. Rect padding.update. Okay, so now we have our little accordion with all the correct settings here. And we need to pass those in. So rect color font path, font size, rect color, and rect padding. Why don't we actually do what it wanted, right? It wanted us to have this be gr font path over here. And then we come up here, and these variables here, font size, rect padding, these ones, we don't actually necessarily want those to be there. Let's put these down here next to the accordion that actually generates them, because I feel like that's a little bit cleaner. So right here. Okay, and now we no longer need this value to be hard-coded here. We can just say font path dot value. And let's double check here. We have font path, font size, rect color, rect padding. Font path, font size, rect color, rect padding. Looking good. All right, let's run it. Refresh. Thumbnail, background, select, generate foreground, we've got a nice little pic, text settings, font size 72, I don't know why we can't change these, combine. It's taking a second. I don't know why it takes so long. Let's make a title here. Robotic soccer players. Error. And now we gotta get rid of that. I also don't like that the remove background is inside the generate thumbnails call. Because that means we're paying for inference every single time. Whatever. I think that might actually be cleaner, because then it means we can change the foreground. Robots playing soccer. Thumbnail. Background. Let's upload this foreground image. Recent. Home. Dev. Where is it? Where is it? TubeGPT. Here it is. TubeGPT data. Let's do this one. Combine. Okay, still don't have a text there. Let's paste the full thing here because I think it's not getting the value of the text. Make title. Make hashtags. Let's call it Agile Soccer Skills. Let's do combine. Let's go to thumbnail. Let's hit combine again. This time there should be a title. Nice. Okay, so one thing I want to do is I want to immediately... Why can't I change this font size? GR slider, GR rect padding, rectangle padding, GR rect padding update. So another thing I noticed here is the text needs to be 000. This is weird though. Grad.io grayed out slider. So first thing we can do here is we actually are at a pretty good point here. So let's say thumbnail progress. We're going to commit this. And I'm going to hit the bathroom. I'll be back. All right, another thing I noticed is that this text here, right, notice how it put the original text, right, the bipedal robot, whatever, not the actual title that we put in here. So we need to change the actual code here for this text box. It's not updating the state value. So you see here how texts, hashtags, button, make hashtags, title, text box. We need to do this. GR text title hash title text box dot update text's title. same thing here. GR texts hashtags text box dot update. So that means that as soon as we change that, it'll okay, that was kind of weird. The stream dropped out for a second there. Okay, I still don't know why these values here, the font path and the rect padding and the font size, like why are they not updating here, right? So let's run this again. Let's refresh. We're going to put in our archive link. As soon as we update it, it gets the GitHub stuff. We make a title or the information from the archive paper. There you go. Make a hashtag. But we're going to change this real quick. So we're just going to call it Agile Soccer Skills. And when we click out, it should have updated that variable. Then we're going to hit combine. Here's the description for our video with all the links and all the stuff. Now we go here, we put in our screenshot. Let's do robot playing soccer. We'll generate that foreground. There you go. Then this is still not changeable. I don't know what's going on, but then when we hit combine, there we go. And it still didn't use. Okay, so I think what the problem is that this dot update is actually fake news. I don't think this grad.io dot update does anything. Yeah, I think it's just dot change. Let's ask GPT. Okay, so you see we have a state variable. This is the state variable. This is the actual GR variable. I think we need to add lambdas here. So you need to do a gr max tokens dot change. Like that. Okay. So whenever the value of this text box changes, and whenever the value of these sliders change, it should update the state variable. And there should be a similar thing here. Perfect. And then another one here. Okay, and then one for the font size and one for the rectangle size. Let's run this. Okay. What happens if I do this? Delete those two. They should delete on here as well. Okay, perfect. Now if we go to thumbnail, can I change these? Yes, I can change them. Perfect. Okay, let's try this again. Let's do our background image. Let's do our foreground image. Let's hit combine. The text's title is not getting updated. Where is it? GR input, GR model, GR temp, GR text title. Update. Here we need another GR text title text box. Change. Whenever you update it, it should output into text's titles. And the same thing should happen here with the hashtags. But we can at least make this font size smaller, right? We're getting there. Okay, back here. Make title, make hashtags, combine. Soccer. Robot soccer. Combine. Get rid of these. Make hashtags. Oh my god. Ugh. The difference between state variables and this is just such a clusterfuck. Okay, I need to get rid of this text hashtags and text's title here. Because this is just not... This pattern here, this dot change, dot update. This is just a bunch of garbage. Why is that so annoying? Let's ask GPT. I'm tired. What is the usage of state variables in grad.io? Why not just use the value of a text box directly? Efficient and consistent. I don't think there's anything efficient and consistent. There seems to be all kinds of weird hidden behaviors that make this more annoying. I just killed a mosquito. 1 second. What am I doing wrong in this code? It's not. Okay, I mean, sure. It's not what I wanted, GPT-4. I want you to tell me what is wrong with this pattern here. Like, do I need this update? Do I need this change? I think maybe like that is what we want. Generate text hashtags, current title, so generate text title receives the title. Generate text hashtags receives hashtags, and then also title. The YouTube video is title. Then modify the given hashtags. This should just be hashtags. And this just returns hashtags, and this just returns title. I think we can do this as well. We can go bam and bam. Simplify these functions a little bit. And now let's go back to where these are called. These no longer return multiple things. They just return one thing. They return into text hashtags, and then text hashtags, or they return into the text hashtag text box. And then as soon as the gr text hashtag text box gets changed, it updates the text's hashtag variable. All right? Okay. Okay, let's see if this works. We're kind of changing stuff around here. This may or may not work as intended anymore. So when I paste that in there, when I hit make title, okay, we're getting that correct. If I make the hashtags, that looks correct too. Now here's the secret sauce. If I remove this and I just do Agile Soccer Skills, and maybe get rid of the reinforcement learning here, and then hit combine again, we should no longer have the reinforcement learning. Okay. Now when I go to thumbnail, let's get that. Let's try a new one here. Let's try a man screaming into the camera. Then let's do combine. We're still getting the old text title. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that. Let's just put in the actual value of the text box. Let's at least see if the font size works. So if we make the font size lower and then make the rectangle padding lower. Okay, so the font size did not do anything. Neither did the rectangle padding, so let's close out of that. Let's get rid of these. Let's put these in here. I'm gonna get rid of these state variables because these are literal dog shit. GR font path. Get rid of all of that. Rectangle color. Color picker, font size, rect padding, get rid of all that. Get rid of this. font size dot value start at a value of 72. Get rid of all this update crap here. Let's do rect padding. Let's start with a value of 10. And get rid of all this update crap right here. Let's change all of these to GR. Let's call this GR rect color. Rectangle padding, step 1. Okay, that all seems fine. Now let's go up here and do the same with these variables here. So text input, text title, text hashtags, and text references. Let's get rid of that. Actually, let's keep those. Sorry. Text inputs, text title, text hashtags, text references. These are the ones that I don't care about. So right here, GPT model, let's put that there. Get rid of this update and change. GPT tokens, make this 50. And then get rid of all this update and change. GPT temperature, let's make this 0.7, and then get rid of all this update and change. So we're simultaneously simplifying our code and then getting rid of whatever weird like bug was causing that. And then here, make sure that these are the GR variables. And get rid of that GR texts title box, and that outputs into GR text title text box. Here, let's get rid of the hashtags, and it'll just output directly to the hashtags text box. These here, we just rename them, so we need to call them GR. And here, there is no longer a text title, so let's call this text hashtag text box, and then I'm pretty sure Copilot will know what this is. Yep. Generate text text box, generate text button click. Here you say give me this, and give me text references. Yeah, so we no longer need the title or the input or the ref or the hashtag. So all three of these we no longer need. When we change this, we want GR text box and GR text title text box. So you see this thing here needs to be below these text box. So right here is where we can put it. Text references, GR input text box. And then down here where we actually combine them, combine texts, text references. Okay, let's run this. Let's paste our archive link. Let's call it Learning Agile Soccer Skills, Mastering Agile Soccer Techniques, Agile Sports. That looks all good. Bam. Drop image. Let's do chibi cat. Generate that foreground. Combine. Cannot open resource. This needs to be dot name. Call this working thumbnail. All right. So what do we want to do from here on? We have our thumbnail. We want to jitter the placement of the foreground, background, and text. Let's make a row that has the rectangle color and then also the GR text color. And then we'll pass the text color to the generate as well. So rect color, let's call it font color actually. convert it into a RGB instead of a hex decimal. Put that in there. Foreground image path. See this part right here, I don't like that we're doing this remove. We almost need a new kind of area that's going to be specifically for removing the background. Okay, so let's do that. We're gonna have a new area here. We're gonna call it GR FG no BG image foreground no background or background removed. Image mode RGB. I wonder if there's an RGBA. Probably not, right? It's probably just RGB only. Then we're going to have a remove BG. GR remove FG BG button. We'll leave a little bit of background. And when you click this button, it should call the remove BG function. The remove BG function should output to the FG no BG image but we're also going to need the actual path. So let's have a FG no BG image path. I can't believe we're using a GR state variable again. But I guess we are. That path, we're going to feed it into our GR FG no BG image path variable. So GRBG image here. Actually, let's get rid of this. The foreground image is just going to be GRFG image. Let's convert foreground image to RGBA. Like that. Make this just the foreground image. I think the problem that we were running into is that the background removal doesn't like that, right? Remove BG. Yeah, because I think as soon as you turn it into a PI, the image for the grad.io, it like loses the mask, and then you can't get the mask back is the problem. So maybe we can get the mask from this. Get the mask from image. Image mask, image mask. And let's say return image mask. Let's get rid of this logic. Let's get rid of image path and data dir. It just gets, nope. Yeah, it just gets an image. No, okay, we do need that logic. Image data dir image per path. Image data dir. Let's get rid of this FG no BG image path crap here. And this just returns into FG mask. Let's call it foreground mask RGB make mask gr fg mask image, so it outputs into that. Here you have the gr foreground image. You have the background image, and then you also have the gr foreground mask image. So in thumbnails, you're going to get the foreground image, you're going to get the gr foreground mask image. We can get rid of this. And here, FG image, and then also FG image mask. And let's go to stack. Let's not call these, let's call these F2, get rid of the GR here. Okay. Draw text, stack FGBG. Now we need to change this so that it also has a FG image mask, or FG, I guess, mask image. And then this is the image that we actually put here. Like that. Do we want to get rid of these image paths? Let's do that. Let's get rid of these image paths, simplify our code. Any opportunity to simplify our code, we should take. So we have the foreground, the mask, and the background. Let's resize the mask to the foreground size. Full FG image, and using the mask image as the mask, we have background plus the image full composite. Okay. Let's go back to stack RGB. We're giving it the image. We are also giving it the mask image. And the BG image. The BG image is going to come here. So when we resize, let's get rid of this. Let's do return canvas. We no longer need the output path. We can get rid of this, just make it image. Let's call it image. Make some of this smaller. Go back here. You don't need this output path. This should now return a BG image. BG image, we now pass it here, and then stack FG BG here. All we got to do is return final no longer need the output path. Go to here. This is the final image. And we can just pass it here. Actually, looking back on this, I think I completely fucked up this. I think we do want the temporary saving. Ah! Why? Yeah. You do want the temporary saving, so let's Control Z all of this crap that we just did. Resize BG. Let's also put the output path in here again. BG image path, and then we'll put that there. And we can actually get rid of these BG size, FG size variables here because the default value of those coorgs is fine. Okay, so you resize the background, it saves it to this BG image path. That BG image path gets used here. Foreground image is going to be the foreground image. Then you have the mask image. And then you have the BG image. So this draw text here, BG image, text, path. This is the output for the text, and that's going to be the input for the stack. And then we're going to have to do the if BG image path is not none, else BG image. That seems fine now. Okay, that also seems fine. And then what about resize BG? We already did that. Okay, let's run it. It's probably gonna error out, but you can't know anything until you try it out. So let's call this blah blah blah. Let's go into thumbnail. Generate the foreground. Okay. Make mask. Something happened. This should be L. It's going to be a one-channel image. This foreground image is no longer being saved, which isn't ideal. Unknown file extension. So here, when you make the GR, let's call it mask image, foreground mask, foreground, let's just call it mask image, get rid of this FG. The input to this is going to be the grfg image and the data dir. What else do we need for this? The image, the data dir, the image path, and the output path. I don't think we need the output path, so let's do this. If output path is not none, then save it. If not, just return it. Okay. Image, data dir. Let's call this the gr make mask button. Let's just call it make mask. And here, let's just call this the gr mask image. All right, let's close out of all that. Let's rerun it. Okay, it's looking good. Let's refresh. Let's put in a bogus title. Let's go to thumbnail. Let's pick our background. Let's just do Bengal cat. Nice little Bengal boy. Let's make our mask. Still running into some. Oh, there you go. All right. That's looking good. That's a good looking mask. Then we combine. Error, no such file or directory. So whenever we're trying to open the 269 and draw text. So draw text. Draw text wants an image path and an output path. Right here, image path. So whenever we're actually calling this, we're giving it an image path. Yeah, so the problem is that it's looking for the foreground image, or the background image path actually, right here. So you actually want that. Okay, let's rerun again. Refresh. Bogus title. Thumbnail. And also, like, just by doing this over and over again, we're kind of getting an idea of like what the workflow is, you know? So we're kind of getting a better idea of what's annoying to do, what's not annoying to do, so that we can make this a little bit more clean. So let's do modified. Let's do the most recent ones here. Let's do this one. Select. Make mask. There's our mask. Hit combine. We did it, guys. Look at that. So clean. All right. But now every time we hit combine, it's going to be the same. So what we really want to do is this stack FGBG. We want to kind of jitter a little bit. So let's do jitter X and Y position. Let's import random, and you can actually come here and do sort imports, and it'll sort those. How about rough organize imports? And then let's also jitter the text. So inside generate thumbnails, inside draw text. Let's draw a solid colored rectangle. Calculate the position. Let's do here. Jitter position of text. I feel like we maybe also want, like, how do I get like multi-line text here? Split the text into lines. Add dash new to the text to force line breaks every n words. Whatever. Let's not over optimize just yet. We might have to do that later. Okay. So let's save it, let's run it, and let's run it from the top and see if we're getting the correct answers here. So we refresh. We just found this cool paper. Let's go. Let's put this cool paper here. As soon as we put it in, we get a title and we get some hashtags. Let's call it RL plays soccer IRL. Let's do make hashtags. We're gonna call it hashtag sports, hashtag archive, hashtag ML, hashtag AI, hashtag robotics. Combine those. We have our little text. You see, this is actually wrong here. Wait up. Where's the combine? Combine texts. It should get the texts. Then the text references, then the text hashtags. Okay, so fix a little bug there, but it's fine. Let's keep going. So then we come here, we upload a screenshot that we got, and then we say, okay, let's generate a robotic white Bengal cat cyber cat. Then we generate the foreground. Let's generate another one. That one looks terrible. That one looks a little cooler. Let's make our mask. This mask takes a second. Damn, it takes more than a second. This is where we could use the segment to anything. Okay, we got a mask. It's not amazing, but it's there. And then we hit combine. And we can hit combine and it'll kind of jitter a little bit. So the jittering isn't like super impactful. And one thing that I'm noticing is that ideally we kind of want the image to either be randomly placed on the left or on the right. So whenever we go into the generate here, generate thumbnails, here in stack FGBG, let's actually go to this function. Let's do this. X, Y equals random dot choice, and we're going to give it a choice here. So we're going to have this here, which is lower left corner. And then we're going to say lower right corner. And there you go. And that should basically pick either the lower left corner or the lower right corner. And let's increase the jitter here. Position jitter. Let's say 50. And then here, position jitter and position jitter. So that'll basically make it more jittery, and it'll flip left and right so we can get a better one there. All right, the next thing I noticed here is that the text doesn't seem to be centered on the text box. So let's go into our generate, back into our generate. Actually, let's go into the draw text function. So here. Let's also add the position jitter here, so we have a little bit of a consistent variables here. Position jitter and position jitter. And here is the... Alright, so rectangle 1 is x minus rectangle padding, and then y minus rectangle padding. And I think the problem here is that this needs to be 2 times rectangle padding. Right? Text width, text height, draw text. Okay, I think that should be fine. Let's close it. And let's run it again. Let's hit refresh, put our text. Make hashtags. Let's call it bipedal robot becomes messy. I don't like this enter space here, so let's actually search for like right here. Nope, that's not what we want. We want here. So yeah, this is what I want, like that. Just to get rid of this little space here. And let's also get rid of this space here. I don't like that space either. So in our code up here somewhere, wherever we actually do the, here, this thing here, do that. And this one here, do that. Or actually, can we do this? Can I do this? Is that valid Python? I don't know. I don't know if that's valid Python. All right, we pick our background. Let's try a new one here. Let's say illustrated white Bengal cat Pokemon. That doesn't look like a Pokemon at all, but okay. There's our mask. Combine it. And we basically have it working. We could also reduce the font size. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And let's make the padding a little bit smaller. Did this do anything at all? Let's see if it does anything. I kind of like this one. Alrighty. This is looking good. Let me actually get rid of this. I don't like this. I changed my mind. I do want it to be exactly a new line in the front and a new line in the back. So, let's save this. Working, full description, and prompt. All right, so now there's a lot of ways we can take this. Unfortunately, this video was called Notion, but we haven't even touched the Notion stuff yet. So you need a database ID. Right now, every time we change the database ID text box, it changes the set database ID here. Is this what they mean by database ID? Okay. You need to set the Notion key. How do I get the Notion key? How do I get the Notion API key for use with the Python Notion client library? Okay, so you seeing all this? Let's go ahead and do this. So we need to go here into add connection, manage connection, my connections, developer manage integrations, new integration, name TubeGPT, associated workspace, sure, submit. Okay, so that's the key right there. So I'm going to move this to the side, and then I'm going to save this, and then I'll bring it back for you guys. Into my keys folder inside Notion. Then we're going to go here. We're going to hit show. Copy. We're going to put that in the Notion. Save. Close out of that. Distribution. Okay. Okay. So once you have this integration, you now need to add it to the client. So let's come here. Let's bring this back over. Setting the Notion key. We're saving it in a Notion API key. Then client. Here we go. Auth equals OS environ Notion API key. New page. The parent of this page is going to be this one. I think this is the database ID that it wants. Oh shit, I closed it. Okay. How do I get the database ID? How do I get the database ID for a Notion page? This will give integration access to the database. Okay, so we need to modify our get database ID here. So we go down into our Notion page. we no longer need this database ID text box. It should just be a set or Notion database text box, and just call it the database name text box, or just call it database text box. Seems fine, actually. Notion database name. The default value for this is going to be content calendar. We're going to call this label. We're going to have a button. When you click this button, it's going to call a push to Notion or update Notion. The inputs to that are going to be the Notion database text box, as well as the GR text's title text box. Actually, just GR text box, the final one, and then we also want the image. GR image, combined image. And the outputs, I guess none. We don't really need an output. It should appear in our Notion page. So let's go ahead and make the Notion thing now. So we got my client, Discord, paper blurb. That's not what we want. We want the Notion. Where's the Notion? Here it is. Create Notion page. So set the API key. Then we need this code here, the database ID. Query, okay, so get the client and now get the database. The create Notion page. This is going to accept what did we say? We say we're going to give it the database name. We were also going to give it the text, or the title, or no, the text, which is a string, and we're also going to give it, I guess, the title. Yeah, we also want the title. So the title, the text, and then also the image, which we're going to call the thumbnail. And this is going to be an NP-ND array. Okay, we can also unindent those bad boys. So response equals notion.search, database name, filter query, query get results. For database in response, return database ID. So here's where you would say database ID is none, and then set this equal to that. Jesus Christ. Delete that return statement. Here's where you would actually create that. Let's go ahead and do this OS Environ Notion database ID. We don't want that anymore. We just have it directly now. And then properties equals new page. So here, I kind of don't like this like separated thing. Let's just put all of this right in here. And let's delete that. Okay, so we can get rid of some of these other Notion things. We don't need this anymore, the set database ID. We do need the Notion key. Create Notion page. GR tab Notion. What do we call it? I already forgot. We called it create Notion page. So let's go down to Notion. We called it create Notion page, and here we have the text box, and we also have the text title text box. Let's make sure that the text box is the one at the output. GR text box. Yes, it is. Okay. Let's delete this for now. Okay. It says open the database in your Notion workspace. Hit the share button in the top right corner in the invite section. It seems like it just kind of works, so let's see. Let's put a breakpoint and then we'll kind of follow it along. Let's actually get the format correct here though. So basically we're going to need the name, the title, content is going to be title, the let's do this. Can you modify the dictionary in the code below to add a new Notion page to the database with the title with the fields title, platform, status, and type. Platform, status, and type. And we give it the actual code here. Let's get rid of this stuff though. And let's say in here, insert here. And let's get Notion to do that. Yeah, the properties dictionary with the correct structure. All right. Let's put that in there. Here, content title, platform YT live, I think is what I called it. Yeah, YT space live. Status, we're going to call it planning. And type, we're going to call it code and paper. All right, let's put a breakpoint there. Let's put a breakpoint here. Actually, let's comment this out. Let's just see if we can create a Notion page without actually worrying about the text just yet. So let's run that. It's going. Refresh. Make a bogus title. Go to Notion. Content calendar run. All right, so we're here. We should have our Notion client. Key error, Notion API key. We need to set the Notion API key. So down here. Set replicate key here. Okay. Okay, we got a client. Let's keep going. Okay, what do we have for response? I don't think we got anything there. Let's go into our debug console, see if we can get something here. share, copy link. What will the database name look like? The top of the database when you view it in the Notion user interface. Letters, numbers, spaces. So is this a database? Database views. I'm pretty sure that's just a Notion database. And it's called Content Calendar. Let's search again. Let's do Notion dot search of query content calendar. It's not finding it. What if we paste this like string here? Notion search not finding database. TubeGPT will have access to this and all the child pages. Confirm, continue. Okay, so TubeGPT now has access. Let's make a new client and see if we can search it. All right, here we go. We got it. Results. Okay. I think this is what we want. Let's go into our grad.io. Save. Let's refresh. Let's run it. Hit that refresh. Make a little bogus title here. Go into our Notion. Hit the run. It should break point right here. Let's keep going. Now it's going to break point here. We should have at least one database ID. Yep, that's the database ID. Then we're going to go ahead and create this. Platform is not a property that exists. Okay, so if we refresh here, did it actually succeed in doing anything? No, it did not. Okay, so I think the problem is that these need to be capitalized. This should be name. Should be platform. This should be status. And this should be type. All right, let's kill it. rerun it, refresh, put some crap in there, run. Let's get rid of this breakpoint. We don't need it anymore. Platform is expected to be multi-select. Status is expected to be status. Oh my god, this notion is so annoying. Platform is expected to be multi-select. Okay, so I think this, it wants it to be multi-select. Status is expected to be status. Edit property. It's a status, okay. All right, I'm looking here, type status. And then here, what is the property for this? Edit property. Type title. Okay. Let's kill it. Let's rerun it. Refresh. Bogus title. Run. I don't think it added it. Let me see. No, it didn't add it. Okay. Properties platform.people should be defined. Instead was undefined. Let's copy this. Let's go into ChatGPT. Let's say I am adding a new page to my Notion database using the Python module Notion client. Here is my code right now, but it has an error. Can you fix my code? And we're going to give it the error. And then we're also going to give it this thing here. I fixed the code base. All right. All right, let's paste the error again. Here are my errors. I think basically what it needs to do is it needs to add some extra fields onto there, but name ID, name start. Platform title should be defined. Why do you need a platform title for a multi-select? Should be an array, instead was name. So it seems like this, it just wants it to be code and then paper. Platform select should be defined. Platform multi-select. This should also just be an array. Name.id should be defined. What? New. Can I like show the raw thing? How do I... Let me delete this. Let me go to this one. How do I get this into like a Python dictionary? Import. Good old Notion. Seems like they're changing their stuff around and it's not backwards compatible. I think ChatGPT has like just the wrong it has the wrong API, which happens, right? Because ChatGPT is cutoff is at 2021, so sometimes it uses the wrong API. platform multi-select should be an object. Instead, it was YouTube Live. I mean, that's literally what I had before. What are you complaining about? So it should be like this. Let's see it. Run it. Looks like it worked. Okay, wait, let's see. Oh shit, look at that. There it is. ASDF, ASDF. Perfect. Okay, so now let's add the text to this. Delete. How do you actually add text to this? Let's ask ChatGPT. New chat. I am using Notion client in my Python code to add a Notion page to my database. I want to modify this create function call such that, make this bigger for you guys, such that it also adds text body and text and an image. So here's the actual stuff that I want. I want the text and the image. What other formats for images are available with the Notion API? Show me some examples. Ideally, I would like to use a NumPy array image. All right, and while it's thinking about that, let's put in these things here. So our text is going to be this. Only external URLs. Unfortunately, you cannot directly use a NumPy array. However, you can work around this by converting your NumPy to array, uploading it to an external image hosting service, and then using the generated URL in the Notion API. Can I upload an image to the Notion API? Okay, so apparently you can't upload an image. Notion upload image from Python. Let's see if it's add texts and images to Notion via the official API and Python, working with files and media. Some guy talking about AWS buckets, upload data. Notion API images and files. Uploading to Dropbox. Yeah, okay, it seems like the image might be more trouble than it's worth, so let's get rid of the image. We will just simply do this. And let's run it. Hit refresh. We're gonna have a robots. I'm gonna make a little fake title, then go to the Notion, then run it. Run it again. Rich text instead. Text. Close it. Run it again. Refresh. Go to Notion. Run. Let's get rid of this breakpoint. Run again. Notion API is just so gross. Notion rich text. Database. How do you actually get the text in there? Text is not a property that exists. Like, how do you actually add to this thing? Notion add to database Python. Notion add to database title is page. So the problem that we're running into here is that there is no field. This is like, I don't exactly know what this is. Right? We almost need an extra field here that's called the description or something, like open inside peak. When I click on a row in a Notion database, it opens up what seems to be a new page. How do I paste in information into that from the Notion API? Oh my god, wait, so you need to create the page first, and then you need to open up that page and put shit in it. This is so gross. I think we just leave it at that. Yeah. I think we'll end it there. I think we're at 3 hours right now. Let's do that. Okay. So let's save this. Let's commit. And I think we'll end it. Notion page creation. Add the changes, commit, sync changes. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the stream, and see you guys tomorrow.